Nicholas Irwin, Nicholas, last name Irwin, Irwin. I'm the research director at the Lead Center for Real Estate and an associate professor of economics at UNLV.
Awesome. Um, so what I sent you regarding the earnings report for Walmart, one of the, you know, well-known box stores here in town and across
Mhm.
the country, um, they are saying that they are seeing a more higher end clientele shopper. What does that mean in terms of economics?
That's a great question. What that would mean, I think, to an economist or to an everyday person is that people are looking for better deals as the price of everything continues to be above that usual 2% that we're used to. People are looking to make their dollar stretch further. And so some folks who may have been shopping at, say a Target or a Vons, maybe they're going to Walmart looking for a slightly better deal, shopping for that great value brand instead.
What is that? What is that going to do, I guess, in long term, for some of the other stores?
That's also a great question. I mean, that could potentially, if we're seeing some of this movement because consumers are worried not only about the cost of things, but maybe they have some economic anxiety about what's happening in the larger economy. Things like tariffs, potential higher than the national average unemployment locally. You could see fewer people going to your Vons, your Targets, and you could maybe see them offering some more deals to draw some people back. But if this is a nationwide phenomenon, then we could see the stock prices of some of these companies start to come down because of that. When Walmart will be rewarded for having an increased number of shoppers visiting and spending more money there.
And I have to bring this up because, a lot of people probably think Walmart is, the for the more average Joe type folks, just trying to, stretch that dollar into a higher end household that, they probably at one point looked at Walmart as kind of beneath them. Um, so that is kind of changing the narrative, so to speak.
Oh, certainly, yeah. I mean, that there's potentially could have been that sort of perception of Walmart, but Walmart is they'll welcome anyone's dollar, no matter where you come from the income distribution. They want people to come in because they're offering the best deal. And you could see in the future if these trends pick up, you could see Walmart maybe even offering additional products that they may not have before. That maybe they would have let Target carry them or a store like that. That maybe they'll start offering them because they're getting a wider range of people coming in.
Um, does this give you a glimpse as to where our economy is going, aside from the, people looking for that bargain deal? What does this tell you about the way that our economy is right now?
I'd say from our local economy, it's another sort of interesting thing that to put on a scorecard of things are looking a little uneasy here locally. We're seeing, tourism is still down. We're still seeing, the gaming take is still fairly high, but it's more dollars out of fewer people visiting, which is a tough proposition to be in. We're seeing our unemployment rate is still higher than national average. We're also seeing, I know in the newspapers you see every couple of days an announcement of layoffs. Even if very small scale layoffs are occurring at places on the strip, it's still a concern. And I would imagine some of this is feeding in. On a macro perspective, we're seeing, some potential unease with what's happening with, the product of tariffs, though some of that should hopefully push off here in the next couple of weeks, depending on what the current administration does. But big picture, another wrench in all this is what's happening now in the Middle East, and the amount and the length of our engagement there could also increase some costs, especially when it comes to gas, which then if gas ends up going up because the oil shipment routes are perhaps impacted by our current conflict, then we can see more and more people turning to a place like Walmart to save money.
It's funny you bring that up because I was gonna actually try to get some reaction out of you regarding what's going on in the Middle East. It a lot of people are saying, "Great, here's another war." Um, we know what the term war means for our economy, what the ripple down effect. Um, for folks at home, can you break that down for our viewers in the simplest form possible as, so they can kind of, I guess, prepare and so to speak.
Yeah, I think there's two avenues that could potentially be impacted by it. It's the first is the global oil market. Oil is a globally traded commodity, and the price we pay at the pump for gasoline is a function of all these different actors playing. And if Iran is contributes a sizable amount of oil, less with some of the current sanctions and embargoes, but anything that creates uncertainty in the oil market, particularly other countries, any bombings of tankers or destruction to refineries anywhere in the Middle East, that's going to come back and impact us because that'll be fewer barrels of oil going out. And that just means it's going to put upward pressure on the price of gasoline. Not only, our gasoline too, but for diesel as well. And all that's going to put um, increased costs, which are going to eventually be felt in the next couple weeks to months, depending on sort of what happens, that we're going to feel at the grocery store because it's going to cost more money to get goods from point A to point B because fuel costs are going to go up. It's going to cost us more money to drive from point A to point B as well. So that's sort of the big avenue. The other one is just, global shipping. Depending on the nature of and the length of the engagement, some shipping routes may have to be changed, which could lead to, increased costs as well.
Um, let's see. In terms of the stock market, I'm
Yeah.
sure the next thing on people's minds is what about my retirement, 401ks, investments, and all that stuff. You put that term war, and people automatically think, oh no, my, my livelihood after I'm done working is going to be in jeopardy. What are your thoughts on that?
It's really too early to tell. Whatever impact may come from any prolonged engagement may likely be offset by the sort of big push in a lot of companies to furthering their investments in AI. So it's uncertain the direction it could go. But I mean, there could be a potential impact, particularly if you're exposed to companies that may have a lot of dealings in the Middle East or in volatile areas that may be more exposed to the impacts of a prolonged Middle East conflict.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, sorry, there's no perfect answer on that because it's too early to sort of really determine, but there will be effects. They just may take a while to sort of show up.
With that being said, with it being too early, just kind of go back a few years to the war in Afghanistan. Um, what, where did our stock market go? And just kind of give us a glimpse at the economy then, and just kind of kind of just take us back a little bit as to how the economy was during that whole situation.
That's a great question, and I unfortunately can't answer that because I was an undergraduate in college and do not remember. So apologies for that.
Wow. Okay. Um, let's see. Is there anything else I forgot regarding like just the state of the economy right now? You say that your expertise are in the housing market as well. Could anything that's going on in the economy, whether it's pertains to the war or just other aspects, can we see other impacts like in terms of housing and interest rates and
Yeah, there's definitely an avenue through. I didn't take a look at the bond market this morning. I haven't looked in, but if the bond market is has feelings that this conflict could lead to inflation and price increases into the future, then that's going to be felt in terms of higher mortgage rates. Haven't checked, and again, the bond market um, can be a little slower to respond, but it is a huge mover. And even we say the Fed controls the interest rates. It controls the mortgage rate. That's really indirectly through Fed policy impacts inflation expectations, which then feed into the bond market, which then is what's tied to our 30-year mortgage rate. So it's too early to tell, but certainly there could be. I mean, the entire economy is a interconnected set of strings that everything relies on the other. And if you knock one of those strings off or a peg off there, then we don't really know what the effect could be, but there'll likely be an effect at some point.
And just finally, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot, and I apologize ahead of time, but with everything going on, is this kind of the catapult that, because you hear the term recession, are we in a recession, are we not? Is this the type of thing that can just catapult us into one like almost instantly?
Instantly, no, I don't. I would have to anything short of a global conflict, and even then, very difficult. But it's certainly our national economy is some things are looking great, some things aren't, and this is yet another thing that could potentially push us over. Economic growth was lower than expected in the last quarter, but still, it's positive. The way we define recessions are very strict. As economists, we define it as two consecutive quarters of negative economic growth. But that's at a national average. That doesn't mean, Las Vegas is, doing as well as Los Angeles or Phoenix is doing as well as Salt Lake City. It's all everyone's lived experience of what's happening, matters. Well, how we measure it on a national level may not reflect what we're actually sort of feeling day to day, especially in a town like Las Vegas. It's so dependent on tourism coming in.
Okay. I think that does it. That does it for me. Is there anything else that you want to add that we didn't touch on?
I think I'm good. I appreciate it. Thanks for chatting.